Today we're going to take these smaller hubs off with the 5 lugs to suit the smaller 14-inch rims, and we're going to replace them with these ones with the 6 lug to suit the off-road tyres. We're going to start by knocking the cap off, and then we'll remove the bearing. We'll grease up and pack out the new bearings, and then we'll put it all back together. And then I've got a 31-inch tyre that I'm going to stick on, and we're going to see how it all fits up. Okay, so what I'm doing here, guys, is just with a rubber mallet, I'm just slowly tapping around the edge of the cap here, and it'll just pop off. So I've gone around a few times and kept tapping it off, tapping it back with a rubber mallet just to pop that off. These bearings are probably, they'd be lucky if they're a couple of 100 kilometres old, to be honest. I have got new ones here. They come with the kit. They're probably Chinese. These are good, I think, Timken, good high quality. Yeah, I've only just done them, so I'm probably going to reuse those. I don't think there's any reason why I can't. I know there's new cups in the hub, but they're all the same size, so I think that should be fine. Yeah, so just holding that bearing in, you've got the split pin here, just there, and you've got what they call a castle nut. Okay, so the split pin, there's actually a hole that goes through the stub axle, which foot the split pin will come through. We pull that out. To pull it apart, we pull that out, obviously, which then allows the nut to spin on the thread on the stub axle. So there I have the split pin out. So then when we undo that, actually, so what we're doing now is we're pulling the nut obviously off, as you can see, and then the hub with the bearings will slide straight out. Just be careful it doesn't drop everywhere. Just the nut off, and that whole hub assembly now, there's the bearing there, we'll just pull straight out. There's the stub axle there, so, and there's your hub assembly there. So you've got your cup sitting in there, the bearing is sitting down there, and you've got your seal on the back and your larger bearing of the two sitting in there with up against the cup in there. After fitting the right bearings, the hub's back on now. Just with these, just make sure when you're putting the bearings back in that they're well greased up. In the palm of your hand, force the grease into the actual bearing itself. Make sure that, and it should squeeze out the other side. When you're doing it up, so you do it up pretty much as tight as you sort of can without going over the top, and then you'll back it off probably about 1/4 of a turn, and then just sort of get it so you can get that split pin back through. So yeah, that's all back on. So now we'll just chuck on the tyre. So I'm pretty happy with that. She's not too shabby at all. Got a bit of clearance in there, and I'm actually jacked up on the spring, so I'm actually all the way up. So it's not going to go any higher than that unless I've got weight in it. And I'm not really going to have a lot of weight in this. The only issue I had, and I knew I was going to have this issue, there's probably about, I don't know, 50 mil of poke. I'm going to have to do something with these guards. Got the new rims on, the 31-inch rims, and the 6-stud hubs. No rub on the inside of the wheel arches from any of the tyres. So for a few reasons, I've decided to leave this all intact here. And as you can see, this line here, I'm just going to cut a straight line along the guard here, and I'm actually going to extend it out in this area here. So I'll bring this piece out the 50 mil, and I'll just weld a piece in here. It's just that all of this is all welded in. Righto, so I've cut that, and I'll space it out to 50 mil. Just, I'll play up the rest of this in here, and this, and down here, and I'll grind it back. I could have got one big long piece, but I'm doing this on the cheap. This stuff here, for argument's sake, is offcuts left over from the Titan drawer that I cut down, so I'm just using scrap if I can. It's an old trailer, it's on a new trailer, so that's what she looks like with the wheel back on. I've got enough coverage there now. I'm not having much luck with this gasless MIG though, whether it's I've just lost my touch. Are they really that shit? This is the first time I've really used it in anger. It's getting the job done just. And so this is the driver's side, just all tacked up, so just one continuous piece. I would have had enough. I paid $13 for a piece that was cut, and I would have had enough to do both. So the only problem I had with welding these up is they're not quite flat in areas, and I haven't even welded it yet. It's because these bloody guards were all bent to the shit out. They'd been whacked. It's an old trailer, so they've been whacked and bent, and I straightened them out as best I could, and I'll weld that gradually over time. Try to put not too much heat in it. It's usually the case, guys. The first one's a bit of a suck and see type job, and then the other side, or the second time you do it, you're much better at it. So but as I say, this will all grind up, and I can tap all this out with a hammer and dolly. I mean, it's only 2 mil, and maybe finish welding it. I just noticed that. Should come up all right. So I just thought I'd show you a couple of tips to manipulate the steel, because this was pretty badly bent up, so I'm having issues, and also, you know, to stop the warping. This here was just out of control down here, but I've got that somewhat flat. I've had to make a few cuts here and there just to try and, but putting the car jack underneath and between the tire and the guard like that, and then welding it, so that way when it pulls in, it'll probably you know, stay pretty flat. So just thought I'd throw in that little handy tip. If you ever do any of this stuff, use whatever you can find. That works, that is. Okay, so the guards are all welded up and ground up, and a bit of etch primer and undercoat, and pretty good to go. The appropriate width to suit the tyres. This side all good to go as well. So I'll just paint them up flat back or something like that. So there we go, guys, all finished up. Just a coat of export satin black I had left over from something I was doing at some stage. A few cans of that in the shed. The metal work could have been a bit better, but when I repaint the trailer, I'll give this a tap here and there and straighten her up. But all in all, not too bad. I mean, the whole trailer's got dents and scratches and rust all over it anyway. All done, guys. Wheels are now painted, guards are finished, nice and high, plenty of clearance. And there's a peak at that side again. Nice VHT wheel paint, just some satin black wheel paint. The VHT stuff I find goes on pretty well, and it's pretty hardy. I've been using it on the 4-wheel drive for a while now. This export stuff from Supercheap, it'll be gone in a week. But I'm a tight ass, and I had it in the shed. So there we go. So on to phase 3, the King's rooftop tent. I've already made the racks, just got to bolt them on and put the tent on. I have a few regulars that comment all the time, and I really appreciate their comments. It just motivates me to keep going. Costs you nothing to get involved, subscribe, like, comment. Okay, cheers guys, see you next time.